Welcome to another episode of BBS videos, Bright Blue Star videos. I hope you like it. Please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's go. Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about why I see that we should be dependent on our capability to think, and instead of wasting our time with faith and churches and mosques or any temple for any religion, because as we know, religion is all about emotions and feelings rather than being rational thinkers. But the problem is that some people cannot live without this emotional side. For example, that they want to face the hardships of life through the belief that there is a higher being who takes care of them and protects them in this life or gives them success. Well, I mean, first look at this, it looks like a nice idea, like a good idea, or that brings comfort to one's life. But the issue is that if that is not real, then we are facing a big problem, because anything that is not real or unreal will have a negative side effects on life in the future. And even though it looks great, it feels great. I mean, just like imagine yourself having a good time taking some drugs. Let's say those people who enjoy taking the cocaine or marijuana. I don't know, like some people use marijuana for medical purposes. But I myself, I don't use it at all. I don't believe in any drugs. I don't even use tranquilizers, because I think that I can bring comfort and like feel peace without using drugs. I mean, that's me. That's my personality. I grew up my whole life suffering from a disability, and that was muscular dystrophy, which prevented me from going school most of my life. Like the first time I started going school was when I was 37, and that was when I came to the United States in 2010. But before that, when I was living in Iraq, most Americans would say Iraq, which is wrong, not correct. So yeah, like I was deprived from school because of my disability, and since my childhood, like I grew up hearing the fact that there is a God who cares for me, and that maybe God has a better plan for me, creating me this way. To be honest with you, I lived like 4 years having depression because of that. Like I was always asking myself, why me? Like, why not another person? If God is trying to do good things and try to bring the best to your life, as they claim. So why me? Why not other people? Why he didn't cripple Adolf Hitler, for example, and make him crippled, instead of he becoming like a killer of millions? But I tried to believe in God, and I believed in God for long years. And many people tell me, well, you believed in the wrong God. That was Allah, the Islamic God. But I would say you have to prove it to me scientifically if God exists or not. I mean, that's philosophically speaking, um, totally different topic from whether which God of which religion is true, because the scientific argument about which God is uh, true and which God is false is totally different from this philosophical argument that if there is a God or not. I mean, that's a totally different issue. Anyway, I tried all my life to separate between God, the spiritual being, whom I had a relationship with in my mind. I kept like thinking that I have an imaginary friend. I called him God. And this God uh, was always an issue of problem with me because I always was seeing the ugly things done in his name. Like I studied the Islamic history and I saw like Muhammad doing his wars, and then after him his companions go to war, and then like the Umayyad Empire and the Abbasid Empire and the Ottoman Empire, and all of them like just conquering and enslaving people, controlling them. And then I thought like, uh, let me try study Christianity. Maybe Christianity is better than Islam because I saw like Jesus was that blonde. Jesus with the long hair, like he looks like a hippie to me. It's very nice, and I thought, well, maybe he's the true God. But I was surprised as a Muslim, like how they can call a human being a God. That doesn't make any sense to me. But then I started studying it, but in the end, like I was so why God create, for example, this entire irony of creating the Old Testament and letting people shed the blood of each other for thousands of years, and then after bring his son, only to be killed, to be tortured and killed on a cross, and then go to hell, and they say that he went to hell to preach. Really? I think he went to hell to be tortured instead of like, as the Christian theory argues that because of Adam's sin, we are having this war. So yeah, like I started making these questions when I came here to America. I had the better chance to know Christianity here in the U.S. Back then in Iraq, I met few Christians, but the environment was kind of majority Islamic. So when you have such a traditional society around you, even your mind cannot think rationally. So I was kind of forced to believe that my religion is better than theirs. And but to be honest with you, like when I started studying Christianity here in America, first time I went to a Baptist church. They were nice, they welcomed me, but slowly I started feeling that the preaching and the talking, it was all about emotions. There were no talking about evidence or proving something right or wrong. In Islam, they have something like that you should provide evidence, even in theory. I mean, in reality, they don't do it. But in theory, if you study Islamic theological books, they talk a lot about evidence and that who has evidence can prove himself right, and that who has no evidence cannot prove himself, like he will be wrong, of course. But that's only in theory, because in reality, they don't accept that. Yeah. Just like Christians, they will tell you, if you study it really and you put your mind and your heart on it, yeah, you will come to believe. But because you have something evil in your heart and you want to run after women or get drunk or become behave in debauchery and immoral and immorality, as if the mullahs were not immoral. Anyway, the religious mentality is the same. I mean, you see a different name, different title, but it's the same in the end. And what convinced me that Christianity is wrong, and of course Judaism, and as I am criticizing, as I criticize the Bible, that also means that the Quran is wrong, even though the Quran had borrowed some good stuff. They like the editors of the Quran had removed most of the atrocities of the Bible from their Quran. For example, you don't see God ordering Moses to go and kill 7 nations. That's not in the Quran. You don't see God showing like King David as his spoiled son who can like rape and kill and do all the crimes, and yet God loves him. Yeah, the Quranic David is different. It's just a just king. Nothing mentioned actually. So um, uh, that was a surprise to me, because when I started studying the Bible, I was surprised about how much violence there, and that doesn't mean that the Quran has no violence in it. But believe me, the violence in Quran is no compared to the Old Testament. Nothing like that in the Quran. The Quran is another trick some people made that brought some people to believe, which was what they call the language or the linguistic miracle, as if the Quranic language is very high, and because of its transcendental language, nobody can write such a thing or speak such a thing again. But that's just a fake story, because if you study it really, it's just an absurd what they can like. It's like a poem, you know. So the Bible showed me that there is nothing makes sense, like why God keeps himself from helping people for thousands of years and even destroying their lives by sending a flood. And the flood, yeah, mentioned in Quran too. It's easy to be God. If you just give me that job of being God, it's very easy. I will do it. Okay, if you don't obey me, I will just destroy everything. And not just that. The funny part is that God, when he sent the flood, the deluge. The story, of course, is stolen or borrowed, let's say. So God regretted destroying the human race, and but the funny part is that in the Bible you see that God creates a rainbow to remind himself that to not do it again. Yeah. So the rainbow will remind God to not destroy us again. But the funny And the irony is that the Christians will tell you, yeah, but he's coming back with fire this time. So it's like somebody saying, okay, I used to rape girls, but I have regretted. So I will create a rainbow that reminds me to not rape any girl anymore. But next time I'm going to kill several girls on my way to home. I mean, just imagine that, a crazy guy like that, evil. What would you say? Like, how wise is that? Like, destruction is easy. So, and for ancient times, it was easy for those fake prophets, and by fake, I don't mean that there is a true prophet anywhere, but fake prophets and kings benefited from terrifying the common people or the subjects whom they ruled. So, but in this age of science, where we can fly and see the earth from outside, from space, the outer space, where we can see planets and galaxies and stars and even dark energy we are trying to discover. It's not useful anymore, guys. I mean, I believe that most who believe in God and Christianity and any other religion and the superpower, they always suppress the reality of science, the reality of evidence, because the Bible is and the Quran they are proven to be wrong. For example, the Quran claims that God decides whether a woman can have a child or not, or be barren, But now it's proven that it's not about God, it's about scientific methods. Many women were unable to have children, but now they can have children. Simple medicines and or surgeries, and they can have kids. And that was, you see, like religion also easy to manipulate, to discriminate against women, for example, or the colored people, or the people with disability like myself. Easy, because I remember, and it still happens online, many people tell me, well, God made you handicapped because you see, you are the infidel. You are against God, so you speak like that. That's why God made you like this. And I said, well, why your God didn't make the world is full of evil people everywhere, people who kill and do crimes and. Tyrants like Hitler, like Saddam Hussein. No, they love Saddam, by the way. Like those religious people, some of them love Saddam. So it's easy for religion to make evil looks good, and good things look bad. So someone like Hitler. Let's imagine, like, I will give you an example how religion can be evil and could be used by Hitler. I show you an evidence, and it's a strong evidence how it's easy to manipulate. Hitler killed 6 million Jews, and according to most churches, I'm not saying all, a majority of them, majority of Christians in America, they believe that whoever does not believe in Jesus will go hell. Okay. And let's assume that those 6 Jews, they were true Jews. So 6 million Jews. Okay, well, remove some of them, like children, let's say they are not counted. So 2 million children went to heaven. Okay, God is merciful. 4 million Jews left. They will go hell because they are adult people, and they heard the name of that man, Jesus, so they are going hell. On the other side, Hitler, who was evil and killer, and when they say, oh, he didn't believe in Jesus, that's why he was evil. Okay, yeah, he was evil because he didn't believe in Jesus. But on the last moment before he killed himself, but he confessed, God, I cannot do this. I'm going to die, but I put myself under the mercy of Jesus, and he's my protector. And voila, he is in heaven after death. Just imagine that. Hitler the evil in heaven. Whether on the other side, 4 million Jews, and of course some other Christians. There are some Christians who would say that even the children of the Jews will go hell because that decided, predestined, because there is no text in the Bible anywhere that says the children of the non-Christians will go heaven. Nothing. So if somebody assumes that the infidel children will go to hell, yeah, they can say that. It's easy. They can't prove it. Same argument happened when I was studying some Islamic tradition books. There were arguments about the children of the infidel, and most of Muslim theologians would say, just like the Christians, that God will take them to heaven. But there is no evidence that God will take them to heaven. Maybe they will go hell, because the Quran also says that God does everything he wants, and nobody asks him why. Nobody can ask him why, or not allowed. So this being that looks like a tyrant and a king is actually created by tyrants. That's why he looks like a tyrant. And Jesus looks better. Jesus looks better. And I will tell you why. Because he's a pagan god. And as you know, I assume you know, but if you don't know, study it. In Greek philosophy, culture, gods had their own realm, like their own world in heavens. But it was like, and the human lives on earth were a reflection of God's lives in heaven. And some Greek philosophers, they noticed this phenomenon, and one of them, I don't remember his name, but he said that if animals had brains like us, and they were able to think, they would have said that the gods look like us, and that was a revolutionary idea at the time, because remember the backwardness and the lack of information they had at that time. And I don't want to use the word backwardness in a bad sense, but anyway, like the progress that they achieved at the time. Yeah, that was a revolutionary idea. So again, that's why I'm telling you that being rational is very important. And don't let anyone fool you, because what they want, it's not your faith. And I know many people. I have best friends who believe in Jesus, and they are genuine about it. But I tell them, sorry, it does not work for me. Even though I respect your originality. Yeah, I believe that you are trying your best to live according to the model of Jesus. But the majority of Christians, before I end this episode, I would just say that they are not followers of Jesus, to be honest with you. Most of modern Christianity is about what Saint Paul says. And Saint Paul is an evil guy, one of the most evil persons history known. And even though he looks peaceful, but he's evil. And I should make an episode of that too. But I would just tell you that all the racism, the hate, tyranny, the worshipping of kings throughout Christian history was because of that man. They call him Saint Paul, and I call him the evil Paul. Okay, guys. See you next time. Have a great day.